Hey, believe it or not, some people are stuck in their outdated beliefs or just lack of knowledge about being healthy, about getting healthy. But today or tonight, day 4 of unburdening yourself, I'm going to talk science this time. And I'm going to talk about the physical well being and how to get healthy, how to lead a healthy life. Okay. My name is Elmira Hinton. I am the RN health coach and creator of the podcast Nurses Notes by Elmira. You can follow me here on the YouTube channel or wherever you see me on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you're seeing me or hearing me on the podcast because this episode, all 30 episodes, will also go on my podcast. And you can follow me over there on Spotify as well as Apple. So go over and have a listen. I love for you to binge listen to this series on a walk or while you're doing some activity. All right. But today I'm going to talk about make sure that you are aware of all the reasons why you may not be able to lose weight and why you might need to change some beliefs, some habits, some things that you are doing that are killing your efforts at getting healthy. Okay. So let's talk about the science. I'm going to talk about this time 6 fat burning hormones that you might be suppressing and how you might want to stimulate them to support you in weight loss. Okay. Now, first of all, we all know about growth hormone. It supports the breakdown of fat, especially at night. That's why sleeping, getting a good night's sleep, is connected. That's why it's so important. So when you sit up and worry about things and don't get a good night's sleep, you're really suppressing your growth hormone. So you're not allowing your body to break down the fat at night, which is what it would normally do. Okay. Now listen, all of these things are connected. So listen up. The other one, number 2, I'm going to talk about glucagon, 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 not glycogen, but glucagon. This particular hormone, okay, releases releases stored blood sugar. So when your body has a need for additional energy, glucagon comes out and releases that stored sugar in order to keep your blood sugar at a safe level. A lot of times glucagon is stored in the muscles, but glucagon is the hormone that is responsible for releasing sugar to keep the blood sugar at a normal and safe level, particularly obviously when you're active, so that when you're burning up calories, glucagon has to come out and release those stored sugars that you have particularly in your muscles and in your fat. Other one, adrenaline. When you get moving or you get excited about something, you release adrenaline, also known as epinephrine. It also acts as a fat burning hormone. And it really comes out and shows during stressful times or with exercise. And exercise is stressful because it requires the body sometimes to go beyond what it's normally doing at rest. Adrenaline, you can get hyped up about your workout or about walking or running, but you get adrenaline to come out when you're really highly stressed, particularly when you're exercising. And that's a fat burning hormone. And we all know about our thyroid hormones because a lot of times thyroid hormones get low and then we feel tired, might lose our hair, and we feel like we don't have any energy and our metabolisms are really low. So having a good active T3, T4, your thyroid hormones, they regulate metabolism and energy. So it's important that those hormones are at their correct level so that your metabolism is burning like it should be, particularly at rest. So that because when you're breathing, you're moving, you're watching, even if you're not doing strenuous exercise, you still have a metabolism. It takes so many calories just for you to live during a day, even if you don't get up and do anything. But if your thyroid hormones are out of whack, you may be underperforming in those areas. So if you're wondering about that, particularly if you've got some hair loss and you feel like some low energy and things like that, you might want to get your T3 and T4 checked by your by your physician or practitioner. The other one, testosterone. Now, women as well as men, we always hear about men in relation to testosterone, but women also have a certain testosterone level, and that helps maintain muscle mass and it burns fat, even in women. Testosterone levels, particularly in men, drop significantly as they age, particularly over the age of 40. So that's why a lot of times you'll see men, they'll start gaining weight or getting a gut or something, particularly if their activity decreases. So on top of that, their testosterone levels decreases, and the same in women. So you start losing muscle mass and you don't burn fat as well. Okay. Insulin, when it's low, allows for fat burning, okay? High insulin levels block fat burning, so it blocks all these other hormones from doing their job when it's out about and working. One other one I wanted to mention was, I think it's called insulin-like growth factor, and it comes out at night, or it also comes out when you're fasting. So that is one reason why fasting is encouraged. And fasting can be something as simple as not eating between meals, so going at least 4, 6 hours in between meals. And particularly when I work with clients, I always try to have them do a 12-hour fast. Now, don't get upset. A 12-hour fast could look like something that starts at 7 or even 8 in the evening after you've had your dinner, okay, or whatever, and going till 8 or 9 o'clock the next day. That's 12 hours. And particularly if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock or something like that. So for most of that fast, you're sleeping. And I would also advise at least a couple of hours before you're going to go to sleep that you not eat, that you let those insulin levels drop. So insulin, IGF, which is a growth factor hormone, and growth hormone will both come out while you're sleeping and while insulin is low. Insulin has a lot of control. So if you've eaten a meal when you go to sleep, then your body's busy digesting it, and insulin is produced in the pancreas and it comes out. And he goes, okay, I got to do stuff with this food. Okay, I got to do stuff with this energy, because that's what your food is. It's energy for your body. So insulin comes out and it says, okay, I got to do something with this meal, got to do something with these calories. And if you're sleeping, you don't need a whole lot. And so then it says, what am I going to do with the rest of these calories that I got here? So it has to store, it'll store some as glycagon in the muscles. And it says, okay, the muscle stores are all full. Now what am I going to do with the rest of these calories? Has to go into what I call deep storage. That's your fat storage. So if you have these extra calories and you're not burning them off, particularly when you're sleeping and insulin is out, it says, okay, I got to take care of these calories because can't let them sit here. They got to go somewhere. The cells don't need them because we're not doing enough activity. So we're going to have to store them. So they get stored as fat. Okay. So as I've said many times, insulin is a fat storing hormone. But when it's low, insulin allows for these other hormones to come out and do their job and burn the fat. So that's why these keto diets and these low carb diets were so popular, because they keep insulin low. All right. The other thing is because sugars, carbohydrates all call for insulin to come out and take care of those calories. Protein in general does not, and neither does fat. So when you're eating foods that, naturally have fat in them or something like that, it promotes satiety. It stays in your digestive system longer, so it slows down its digestion, so you don't tend to get hungry as quick. That's what fat does for that. And yes, it does have more calories to it, but it doesn't call for insulin. Okay? So that's why those diets seem to work, is because the foods that you're eating, because it's asking you to eat high protein and fat, and those things don't call for insulin. It's these other foods that call for insulin, these carbohydrates, white flour, all that stuff, all the sugars, they call for insulin to come out to take care of those calories, all right? So when insulin comes out, it suppresses all these other fat-burning hormones. So it's so important that you understand that. That's why having something like a regular time that you fast, that's why eating Not eating in between meals can be very helpful because after you've had your meal, insulin comes out, takes care of those calories, gets them stored, and then if you're not snacking, it goes the level of drop and you'll be good. And that's why I encourage, if you can, and again, don't make any changes without having a conversation with your healthcare provider, assessing your meds and your ability to do something like this, perhaps not eating for 12 hours, looking at having an overnight fast. So having your last meal at 7, 8, what is that, in at least a couple of hours before you go to bed, if you can do it. Now, if you've got medications and stuff you got to take, you got to pay attention. That is on you. Okay. You got to pay attention to really what your needs are. But if you can go a period of time like that, 2 hours before bed, and then wait a whole nother 12 hours, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning before you have a meal again or take in any calories, you can still have water. Especially staying hydrated is so important also in fat burning. So very important. You can still have that. So you can still sip on your water or something like that. But waiting that 12 hours overnight can really make a big difference because insulin will get low. So all the other hormones will come out and do their thing, particularly while you're sleeping at night. That growth factor and growth hormone come out when you're sleeping, and it'll encourage fat burning. So it's amazing when you see those stories and things about burning fat while you sleep. You actually do. That's true. Particularly if insulin's not out, or cortisol, that's the other one. That hormone suppresses fat burning. So if you're stressed and you have high cortisol levels, like I talked about in my last video, if you haven't seen that on day 3, I talked a lot about cortisol. If you're really stressed, if you're not able to relax and get those cortisol levels down, if cortisol is high, which again, I talked about, you see it, and then those people with high cortisol levels tend to have a lot of belly fat. That could definitely be the reason why you can't burn it, because when cortisol's out or insulin's out, really suppresses all of your fat burning hormones. Okay. So I hope this little message has been really enlightening to you about unburdening yourself with how to lose weight, how to be the healthiest version of you that you can physically, okay? And then obviously the mental is always connected with that, particularly when you're talking about stress, all right? And today we just talked about your beliefs. If you didn't have this information, if you didn't understand this, if you had the belief that I can just eat whatever I want, or I just need to cut calories. Yeah, you can cut calories, but if you eat things that are high in sugar or that call for insulin, you're going to suppress your fat burning hormones. All right. So the two go hand in hand. You need to understand, be educated, and change those beliefs about getting healthy and take care of yourself mentally. All right. So if you have enjoyed this information that I've been sharing, this is day 4 of my 30-day series. And if you think this could support someone else, please share it with them. That would really help me out a lot, particularly in all these different algorithms, because they want to see people listening, they want to see people liking, they want to see people subscribing. That would help a lot. The other thing, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Comment below if you have any questions, if something didn't make sense to you, if you want more clarification about anything that I said in this particular video or any of my videos, please comment. That really helps out a lot. Or let me know if this supported you. I'd really love to know if this information that I'm sharing with you supported you somehow, if it enlightened you, if it brought some different knowledge to you, so enhanced your knowledge base. I would love to know that also. So just comment and let me know and subscribe, okay? I am Omari Hinton. I am the RN Health Coach. And if you think that we could work together and helping you get to be the healthiest, vibrant person that you deserve to be, let's have a conversation about that. Go to my website, www.thernhealthcoach.com, which is probably linked around this video somewhere or in the podcast in the show notes. Go to the website, click on, it should pop up for you and ask you, let's stay connected, subscribe. And I not only will send you the information, the booklet, the journal that goes along with this series, and it will also put you on my email list, okay? Because once a week or so, I'll send out a newsletter and we can stay connected. Also, on my website, hit book now. Book just a 15-minute call with me to let's have a conversation about how I may be able to support you in getting healthy. There's several different ways to do that. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be opening up a group that I will be presenting in or going live in several times a month, probably once a week, answering questions, providing more in-depth information about getting healthy mentally and physically, about generally unburdening your life with this kind of thing in my Unburdened series. Also, I'm going to be offering a self-hypnosis and meditation class. Reach out if you would be interested in something like that because I'm going to be having a self-hypnosis and meditation class because it will really help you to start to release some of these burdens, some of these challenges that you might be facing mentally, some of these thoughts that might be burdening you that aren't supporting you in the healthiest fashion. And then at the highest level, I have one-to-one sessions that include all of that if you would like to become a one-to-one client. But let's discuss those options for you. Book a call with me and I will chat with you about how to help you get healthy. All right? Again, thank you for listening. Share this with anyone who you think it might support. And I will see you next time on day 5 of unburdening your life and getting healthy. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.